It's showtime. What's up, good people, and welcome to the Frank Harris Show, the biggest, the baddest, and the best show in the world. Oh my goodness, people, what's going on with Drake versus everybody in the rap game? Oh, Drake versus Kendrick Lamar's is front and center. Drake versus Future, Drake versus Rick Ross, Drake versus producer Metro Boomin, Drake versus John Morant. Oh my goodness. This is Rick Ross. I think I may have already mentioned Rick Ross. Listen, everybody talks about it's good for the sport of rap. I hear you. Let's just keep it on wax, guys. I think I may have mentioned this before, but it's starting to get way too personal, talking about people's kids not being their kids. And oh my goodness, I'm very concerned about where this is headed. I know you guys talk about the sport and it's for fun, but I hope it stays on wax and we don't have any fatalities. Let me kick off by saying that. Now, I hate to go back here again. I really do. But there's always so much drama in LA. First of all, before I go to LA, I'm a native New Yorker, even though I live in LA. Shout out to the Knicks. Shout out to Jalen Brunson. Amazing closeout game against the Philadelphia 76ers. Now look, Embiid was hurt. Embiid was injured. Even he was beyond hurt. Embiid was injured. He gave it a go. But Jalen Brunson was the best player on the court. The Knicks deserved to win. That's their first closeout win in the series in years. Shout out to Brunson. Shout out to Hart. Shout out to DiVincenzo, all the Villanova guys who play for the Knicks. Good win for the Knicks. Now, back to the Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers. By the way, good for you. You finally got rid of the horrible coach, the imposter, the person that was an imposter posing as a coach, Darvin Ham. Oh boy, the guy was probably as bad a coach as I've ever seen before. All right. If you watch, so first of all, everybody always says it's not the coach's fault, it's about the players. The coaches don't play the game. Okay. That's such a false statement. I would agree the majority of the blame should absolutely fall on the players. The majority of the blame. But the coaches have to shoulder some blame as well. Okay, because it is 100% the coach's responsibility to put his or her players in the right positions on the court, on the field, and put them in a position to make plays, to win the game, and to put them in positions that amplify the things that they do best, that amplify, again, the things that players do best. And Darvin Ham did not do it. And especially in relation to Anthony Davis. Mr. Glass himself, Anthony Davis. Did you see how he got hurt, right? That little subtle bump with Porter, and he's like writhing in pain. I mean, come on, AD. That was embarrassing, bro. But anyway, AD's still a great player. In my opinion, a top 10 player in the NBA, top 10 talent. As talented a defender as there is in the NBA, I think the only better defender is probably Wembanyama right now. I think AD is probably the second best defensive player in the NBA. He guards on the perimeter. He blocks shots. He rebounds. Elite defensive player. But did you see how Darvin Ham used him offensively? They ran the same bland screening role all game long. AD screening LeBron, AD screening D'Angelo Russell, AD screening, Austin Reeves. But the problem is this, okay? AD screening and rolling to the basket, 25, 30 feet out, screen it and then roll it to the basket. If he gets the ball on the roll, 16, 17 feet from the basket, that's a hard play, right? On the move. Why not post AD up sometimes? It's okay to screen and roll from time to time and get deep and throw alley-oops, but having them screen and roll all game is not utilizing AD, and especially screen and rolling 30 feet out to his best ability. Why not pop him to the free throw line and let him face up one or two dribbles, shoot, score? Why not cross screen for him and give him touches closer to the basket? Because it makes him great. It's his dexterity for a guy his size, all right? He's at a disadvantage when you play him so far out on the perimeter. screening and rolling 30 feet from the basket. Just bad offense. Darvin Ham, there was no creativity in your offense. LeBron James over dribbles the ball. You know, it was painful to watch Laker games. It was painful. And it was painful to see that the Lakers had tuned out. You see it when they had timeouts. Darvin Ham was trying to draw plays up on the board and couldn't figure out what the plays were. LeBron James looking at the scoreboard. AD's looking over here. D'Angelo Russell's on his phone, right, while the team is in the huddle. Oh, come on, man. The guy lost the locker room, lost the team. And by the way, the proverbial nail in the coffin, I repeat, the proverbial nail in the coffin was when Anthony Davis came out after the playoff game. After the playoff game in Denver, when he came out and said, at times, and I want to paraphrase, at times we're confused and we don't know what we're doing on either side of the court, on the defensive or offensive side on the court. At that point, he pretty much told us we're unprepared, okay, and we're being coached horribly. At that point, that was it. That was it. At that point, you knew Darvin Ham's fate was sealed. He came out the next day and said he disagreed with AD, but at that point, you knew his fate was sealed. And then there was the emergence of the new superstar in LA. He is right now taking the mantle from LeBron James. And now AD, when he made that statement and got that coach fired, he laid down the hammer and let everybody know the LA Lakers are his team now. LeBron James still has say-so, we get it. But the LA Lakers are Anthony Davis's team, okay? And look, LeBron James is a free agent. They say he's building a $100 million house in LA compound. His family's out of here. He loves LA. We assume he's going to stay. LeBron James stays in LA, okay? Loves the Lakers, loves being in LA. Family loves LA. Cool. It's AD's team now, okay? LeBron James, his input will matter, but it's AD's team now, okay? So now we have a coaching vacancy. And if you're the Lakers, what do? All right? First of all, you try to poach Tyronn Lue. I get it. There's a lot of rumor about Tyronn Lue. Tyronn Lue, to me, is the best coach in the NBA. The best coach in the NBA. You try to poach him from the Clippers, but guess what you're going to do? What you're going to do is try to poach him, and you're going to get Tyronn Lue $100+ million deal. He's going to get him an 8-year deal for $100 and some odd million, and Tyronn Lue is going to hit the jackpot and stay with the Clippers, okay? Then you got Budenholzer, experienced guy, okay? Won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks, experienced coach. He's probably the most experienced coach out there, was also a head coach for the Atlanta Hawks. Experienced coach, not a bad coach. I don't know why Milwaukee got rid of him. Milwaukee got rid of him and brought in Adrian Griffin. How did that work out for you? That was a joke. Budenholzer was great. And listen, I don't want to switch topics, but this guy, Giannis Antetokounmpo, okay, for as great as he is, what we don't hear about is some of those behind-the-scenes moves that are very questionable. I'm going to give you two. I'm sure they would not have fired Budenholzer if he wanted him, okay? That was very, very dumb on Giannis's part. Secondly, getting rid of Drew Holiday and bringing in Dame Lillard. Again, I'm pretty sure he had a part in okaying that deal. Another behind-the-scenes move that made no sense. Giannis, you're on the clock too with some of your decisions. But anyway, back to the Lakers. So Budenholzer, experience. Again, won a ring, knows how to deal with superstars. He dealt with Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Good coach, who knows? And then there's this wild card. And I don't understand this. I just don't understand it. You have a wild card, and the wild card is this guy, JJ Redick. And you see the setup. LeBron James is all of a sudden doing a podcast with JJ Redick, okay, which is pretty bad, by the way. And I think, I'm shocked. I thought LeBron would be better in the podcast space. I feel like LeBron is not very good in that space. JJ Redick, very knowledgeable guy, understands the game, and I get all of that. Smart guy, went to Duke, played at Duke, all-time great Duke player, all-time great ACC player, good career, great shooter, good high school career, McDonald's All-American, played for Boo Williams, AAU-wise, very good player, good pedigree. But how are you going to hire a guy to coach the Lakers with no NBA coaching experience? Are you kidding me? Did we just not see what happened with Steve Nash? Point guard extraordinaire, cerebral, smart, one of the smartest basketball players that we've ever seen before. Steve Nash, great player, no coaching experience. No coaching experience. He gets the job with the New Jersey Nets, and it was an absolute abomination. It was a horrible experience for everybody involved. Okay. So get off this JJ Redick garbage. All right. And go get you an experienced guy, a guy that's been an assistant coach or a head coach in the NBA. Being a head coach is not just about X's and O's. It's about understanding how to be the CEO of an organization. You look at who people consider the greatest NBA coach of all time, right? Phil Jackson, great coach. Phil Jackson didn't put in the triangle offense. Tex Winter did, right? Tex Winters did. He was the guy. But Phil Jackson was a good CEO. He knew how to manage personalities. He knew how to manage the talent. He knew how to manage the overall operation. And that's what made him a great coach. Okay? So it's about basketball acumen, but there's so many other elements that an inexperienced guy like JJ Redick is not prepared to handle. Okay? JJ Redick could be a good coach down the line, but the guy needs some experience before you give him a job of that magnitude. You're not giving him the Charlotte Hornets. You're giving him the most historic franchise in the history of the NBA, the Los Angeles Lakers, and you saddle him with AD, LeBron James, two superstars, and a big organization with the highest expectations. JJ Redick is not ready for that job yet. No disrespect to him, but it shouldn't happen. I hope it ain't gonna happen. And for people who are Laker fans, you better really, really, really pray that it doesn't happen, because you'll be firing another coach in a few years, and you're gonna be back in this coaching search, in 2 or 3 years all over again. All right. So that's the Lakers. Then, of course, as we talk about the Lakers, we got to talk about the Clippers. The Clippers, they got demolished by the Dallas Mavericks. And by the way, Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic, oh my goodness, they look like Batman and Robin. But sometimes Kyrie's the Batman and Luka's the Robin. Did you see that move by Kyrie Irving when he shaped and baked and then shot the side fade jumper and won? Over PJ Tucker, and the whole place erupted. By the way, Kyrie Irving is also 13-0 in closeout games when he has a chance to close out a team. I'm going to tell you something, man. Dallas looked good, but the Clippers looked atrocious. What happens in Clipperland, okay? And please explain this to me, all right? Clipper, Steve Ballmer, organization, Lawrence Frank. How do you sign Kawhi Leonard to a new 3-year, $152 million deal? You signed him for the last 4. He's never able to play. He's never played a full season. He's hurt every playoffs. How do you sign him to a new 3-year, $150 million deal? Please tell me logically how that makes any sense. I mean, I just don't understand that logically. 3-year, $152 million to a guy who's never, shoot. Maybe I should give him the title Mr. Glass over Anthony Davis, because at least Anthony Davis is always kind of hurt, but he kind of plays. He's always grimacing. Kawhi Leonard is the worst, right? Because he doesn't play. And then when he's healthy, he load manages. So when he's healthy, he load manages. And then for the rest of the time, he's always hurt, right? And then he gives you flashes of greatness from time to time, and it's horrible, okay? Then you got Paul George, who himself proclaimed to be a number 2. He doesn't want to be a number 1. But he wants to, of course, be paid like a number 1 and get a max deal, okay? So now you got Paul George, who's a free agent. He's going to opt out of his deal, and he's a free agent. What do you do if you're the Clippers, okay? And then thirdly, you have, and by the way, Paul George supposedly has 2 strong suitors in the Philadelphia 76ers who have a lot of cap room, and the Orlando Magic, 2 teams with cap room. And the Sixers are close, right? With Maxey, Joel Embiid, you add Paul George to that mix, a good wing. The Sixers are dangerous. And we saw today how good Orlando could potentially be. They lost in the game 7, but they are a team with good young pieces, and they may have a chance to be good in the future. So you add a veteran player, that could be very helpful. And of course, Paul George would be a number 2 on that team behind Paolo Banchero. Now, then you have James, I want to go party all the time and not take care of myself, Harden, all right? James Harden, his best days are way, way left in Houston. Okay. His best days are way behind him. All right. And by the way, Daryl Morey knew what he was doing. That's why Daryl Morey didn't want to sign him. Daryl Morey. And Daryl Morey, he was the GM, president for the 76ers. I know he had a great history with Harden, gave him a lot of money in Houston, gave him big time contracts, signed him to his first max deal in Houston when he signed him away from OKC when he was a sixth man at OKC, and he gave him a max deal. But Morey knew the writing was on the wall, and he was right. Harden looked atrocious. He looked atrocious. And by the way, the guy looks like he's a 40-year-old man playing basketball. His body's out of shape. And the only reason why he's still relatively effective is because he's cerebral and understands the game. But body-wise, he's done. The best days are behind him. So you got to be careful about re-signing him. And then lastly, we have Russell Westbrook. Oh, my goodness. It's crazy how guys fall off a cliff. Guys are good one year, and then all of a sudden they fall way off a cliff, okay? And he fell off a cliff. He is bum juice right now. Bum juice. And by the way, Hall of Fame career, MVP, won an MVP, never got a ring. The guy is an incredible competitor. And what he's been able to do with no real offensive skill, not a lot of offensive skill, but with grit, determination, heart, right? He's carved out a great career. So kudos to him for that. But ultimately, we have to also understand the writings on the wall, and his best days are way, way, way behind him. They should get rid of Russell Westbrook. So where does that leave us? The Clippers now are going into a new arena. They just built a new venue. It's exciting, okay? And when you go into a new venue, you don't want to rebuild, okay? So, well, maybe you're not supposed to want to rebuild because you want to sell tickets. But with this team, I would blow it all up and rebuild and try to get a good team. Ballmer has a lot of money. You got a new arena. Maybe some free agents will come and maybe you can rebuild quick. But you ain't winning with the guys you have right now. You are not winning with Kawhi, Paul George, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. That combination, you are not winning with those guys. Okay? So blow it up, get rid of them. But I know what's going to happen. They're going to bring the band back together again, because ultimately they need to have, big name players to sell tickets at this new arena. They're going to bring the band back together again. Kawhi will be hurt, at some point, and he won't be able to play. Paul George will continue to show us why he'll never be a number one. James Harden will struggle as his game is continuing to digress. And then Russell Westbrook will continue spiraling out of control and being terrible, all right? And the Clippers will be in a way worse position than they would have been if they blew it up. And by the way, one last note as it relates to the Lakers. When does Rob Pelinka, who's the GM of the team, start to shoulder some blame? Okay? You blaming coaches, you blaming players, everybody's getting blamed but the guy who's putting the teams together, all right? Blew up the team, okay, after you won a championship, who you brought in Westbrook, which was a horrible, horrible choice, right? You fired Vogel, you brought in Ham. That's shown to be a horrible choice. Every year you gut the whole team. Then you go sign all these new players. Last year you signed all these guys at the trade deadline, right? Some of it worked, some of it didn't work. But because they were your trades, right? You were adamant to prove that they worked. Then you went and re-signed most of these guys back. You re-signed D'Lo, who's maybe the worst defensive guard in the NBA and the most overrated guy ever. You signed Austin Reeves, okay player, right? Not bad, but not great. You signed Hachimura, horrible. Jerry Vanderbilt, all of these guys that you made trades for, you signed all these guys. And what happened? What happened? First round bounce. 2 years in a, excuse me, not 2 years. You lost to Denver 2 years in a row, but you got bounced out of the first round, 5 games. You got swept last year in the conference finals. All right, you're going backwards, right? You're the guy that's putting these players together. At some point, I understand he was Kobe's guy. He was Kobe's agent, and I understand there's some sentiment there from that perspective. But at some point, when do we hold Rob Pelinka also accountable for what's going on? You tell me. You tell me, should Rob Pelinka be fired? Should the Lakers also be looking for a new general manager? Bob Myers, come on, Bob Myers. I'm saying though. Bob Myers, old guy who put together the Golden State Warriors. He was the architect in putting together the Warriors. They've had a great run, obviously. Maybe he's the guy that the Lakers need to go hire in LA. So some basketball tidbits. What's going on in LA? Again, a shout out to the Knicks. Now we're in the second round of the playoffs. Intriguing games in the second round of the playoffs. All right. I would love to get your comments and your thoughts. I think one of the more intriguing series, Minnesota versus Denver. What a great series. You got the young superstar, Anthony Davis. You got Jokic, who you can argue is the best player in the NBA. Oh, boy, you got a seasoned veteran team with championship experience. You got a relative upstart, right? I mean, you still got guys in Minnesota that have not championship pedigree experience, but playoff experience. But Anthony Davis is that young pup trying to take over the NBA. Upstart series, exciting. That's upstart team, amazing series. Man, that's a close one. I don't know, man. I would have thought Denver in 6, but the way that boy played in that first series, Anthony Edwards, I might take. I might take. It's hard for me to say it, but I might take the Timberwolves in 6 in that series. So I'm going to be watching that series closely. Dallas OKC, another cool series, a young upstart team. Again, young guys with great energy, great camaraderie. You got those guys playing against, a good Dallas Maverick team. I think that's going to be a good series. I think I got OKC winning that series. And, and on the East side, you got Eastern Conference game. The Cavs versus Boston. We got Boston probably winning that in 4 to 5 games. I don't think that would be very competitive. Then you got the Knicks, Indiana. 2 relatively boring teams to watch. Brunson is great, right? But nobody really cares about Indiana. Halliburton, that funny shot. Good player, right? Good team. Siakam, okay. That series is not great, right? So what will happen is Boston would have had a great walkthrough. Injured Miami in the first round, okay? A very, very minimal Cleveland Cavaliers team in the second round, and then probably the Knicks in the third round to get to the finals, right? What a cakewalk to the finals. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Good series on the West Coast, especially in the Western Coast, the Western Conference, especially. We'll see what happens, as relates to those games. It's that time of year. It's my favorite time of the year. It's exciting. All right, guys. So love to hear your comments, your quotes, your thoughts about all of it. It's always good to shout out and touch and connect with my people. We back at it again tomorrow. It's love. I appreciate you. I'm out. The Frank Harris Show, baby.